So, yesterday we have discussed about the coordination chemistry and the basic terms which are going to be used in the coordination chemistry. And today we will continue whether we have left. And yesterday we are discussing about the ligands. And I have mentioned ligands are the chemical substance which will donate the lone pair of electron to form the donor acceptor bond, and on basis of donor side these can be of three types. The first one are monodentate ligand, second one are bidentate ligand, and third one are polydentate ligand. And yesterday we have discussed about those. Now today we are going to discuss about ambidentate ligand. Today we are going to discuss about the ambidentate ligand. Question might be there in exam. What are ambidentate ligand? So, ambidentate ligand may be defined as the ligands which are having more than one donor site in them, but use only one for bonding. Which are having more than one donor site in them, but use only one for bonding are known as ambidentate ligand. An example of that is thiocyanato and isothiocyanato. HCN and NCS negative, similarly NO2 negative and ONO negative, nitro and nitrito. These are the ambidentate ligand. These are having more than one donor site in them, but use only one for bonding. That's why these are known as ambidentate ligand. After this, we have to discuss about the chelating ligands. Chelating ligands. So, chelating ligands may be defined as the ligands which are having more than one donor site in them and can form the cyclic structure with the central metal atom. The ligands which are having more than one donor site in them and can form the cyclic structure with the central metal atom are known as chelating ligands, and the cyclic structure obtained is known as chelating ring. The cyclic structure obtained is known as chelating ring, and this property is known as chelation. This property is known as chelation. And examples of chelating ligand are ethylene diamine, oxalato, and EDTA, ethylene diamine tetraacetate. I hope you understand what are ligand, what are their type, and various terms are going to be asked in your exam. After this, we have to discuss one more important topic, and that important topic is primary valency or oxidation number. What is the primary valency? Primary valency or oxidation number. So, primary valency may be defined as the charge present on the central metal atom in a complex that is known as primary valency. It can be satisfied by charged ions only. The primary valency can be satisfied by charged ions only. It is ionizable in nature. It is non-directional, and it is shown with dotted line or thin line in Werner structure. Dotted line or thin line in Werner structure. Next is the secondary valency or coordination number. Secondary valency or coordination number. And it shows the number of donor acceptor bonds formed by the central metal atom. It shows number of donor acceptor bonds formed by the central metal atom, and it can be satisfied by charged as well as neutral ions. It is generally non-ionizable. It is directional in nature, and it is shown with thick line or dark line in Werner structure. Now we have to do few numericals over it. For example, a complex is given Zn H2O 6 times, and there is overall 2 positive charge. Then we have to find out the primary valency and secondary valency of zinc. Here, primary valency or oxidation state can be found out. Let oxidation number of zinc is plus x. Water is having no charge over it, 6 into 0, that will be equal to plus 2. So primary valency of zinc will be plus 2 and secondary valency will be equal to number of donor site. There are 6. Primary valency is plus 2, secondary valency is 6. Similarly, next question is there. F is Cn6, 4 negative, and question might be there, what is the primary valency and secondary valency of iron. So primary valency or oxidation state of iron will be x plus 6 into minus 1, that is equal to minus 4, so it comes out to be plus 2. Primary valency of iron is plus 2 and secondary valency will be 6. Next question is there, K3 Cr OX3. OX3 means oxalato. We have to find out the primary valency and secondary valency of chromium. So here primary valency will be equal to oxidation number. Let oxidation number of chromium is plus 1, potassium plus 3, oxalate minus 6, that is equal to 0. So X comes out to be plus 3. Similarly, secondary valency, it will be 6 because one oxalate ion has 2 donor site in it. Next question is, what is the primary valency and secondary valency of platinum in complex PtNH3 twice Cl2? So here primary valency will be equal to oxidation state, and for platinum let it is X, for ammonia 2 into 0 plus chlorine 2 into minus 1, that is equal to 0. So it comes out to be plus 2. Primary valency of platinum is plus 2. Now we have to find out the secondary valency, and secondary valency will be 4. Next question is there, CrEn twice ethylene diamine, H2O twice Cl3, and we have to find out the primary valency and secondary valency of chromium. So here primary valency or oxidation state of chromium will be plus 3. Secondary valency will be 6 donor site are there, 2 in 1 ethylene, so total 4 plus 2, that comes out to be 6. I hope you understand what is primary valency and secondary valency. Now we have to discuss one more important term, and that is EAN. Full form of it is effective atomic number. Effective atomic number. Effective atomic number. So for any central atom, effective atomic number can be found out by use of formula Z minus primary valency plus 2 times secondary valency. Z minus primary valency plus 2 times secondary valency, where Z is the atomic number of the element, primary valency is the oxidation number, secondary valency is the coordination number. Let's suppose we are taking few questions. First one is tetracarbonyl nickel. In tetracarbonyl nickel, what is the effective atomic number of nickel? For that, we have to find out primary valency, and primary valency or oxidation state of nickel will be 0 here. Secondary valency will be 4. So effective atomic number will be 28 minus 0 plus 2 into 4, that comes out to be 36. Next is CrNH3 time 4 positive, and we have to find out the effective atomic number of chromium. For it, the primary valency will be 4, secondary valency will be 6, atomic number of chromium is 24 minus 4 plus 2 into 6, that comes out to be 32. And the last question I am taking, that is CrNH3 5 BrSO4. In it, we have to find out the effective atomic number of chromium. For this, first find out the primary valency. That primary valency is +3. Then secondary valency will be 6. So effective atomic number will be 24 minus 3 plus 12, and that comes out to be 33. In this way, we can find out the effective atomic number of any central metal atom in a complex. Now we are going to discuss a very important term which may be asked in your competitive exam as well as board exams, and that topic is nomenclature of the complexes. Nomenclature of the complexes. A very, very important topic. And following rules are used to write down the name of a complex. Following rules are used to write down the name of a complex. And the first rule is name the cation of ionic sphere if present. If any cation is there in the ionic sphere, then name that. After naming the cation, name the complex ion. And in complex ion, name the ligands first, then the central metal atom. First ligand, name the ligand in alphabetical order, then the central metal atom. If same ligand is repeated more than once, then use numerical prefix like di, tri, tetra, penta. But if these words are in the name of the ligand, then use bis for 2 times and tris for 3 times. The suffix 8 is used after the name of central metal atom if coordination sphere has a negative charge. If coordination sphere has a negative charge. And in end, show the oxidation number of the central metal atom in Stokes notation. And finally, name the anion of ionic sphere if present. I am repeating the rules. First rule is name the cation of name the cation of the ionic sphere if present. After naming the cation, name this complex ion, and in complex ion, name the ligands in alphabetical order. After that, and if same ligand is repeated more than once, then use numerical prefixes like di, tri, tetra, penta. And if these words are in the name of the ligand, then use bis for 2 times and tris for 3 times. After this, show the oxidation number, or 8 word is used as a suffix after name of the central metal atom if the coordination sphere has a negative charge. And the last rule is show the oxidation number with Stokes notation and name of anion if present. Now I am taking few examples, and the first one is Zn H2O 6 times 2 positive. I have to write down the IUPAC name of this. Then IUPAC name of this will be hexa, aqua, zinc, 2 and iron, because it is charged species. That's why name of this will be hexa, aqua, zinc, 2 iron. Next one is FeOX3 4 negative, and we have to write down the IUPAC name of this. Then IUPAC name will be trioxalato, ferrate. 8 is used suffix because coordination sphere has negative charge. Ferrate 2 iron. Next one is NiCO4. The name of this will be tetracarbonyl nickel 0. Next example I am taking compound is K3 FeCN6, and we have to write down the IUPAC name of this. IUPAC name of this will be potassium hexacyano ferrate 3. Now we need not to write down the ion because it is neutral. Next one is Cr NH3 5 Br SO4. We have to write down the IUPAC name. Then IUPAC name of this will be pentaamine bromido, pentaamine bromido, chromium 3 sulfate. Next one is PT NH3 twice Cl2. We have to write down the IUPAC name. Then IUPAC name will be diamine dichloro platinum 2. I hope you understand how to write down the IUPAC name. There might be a lot of questions in your book. You do the practice. If any doubt is there, then you can send it to my WhatsApp number 9728035202. Till then, thank you. Stay connected. Stay healthy.